Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about USDA loans. What are USDA zero down loans? Okay, USDA loans are basically they're loans that are backed by the government. Hence, that makes the government backs it up. That makes it appealing to the bankers that are giving out these loans to issue these loans out at a pretty more than likely they're usually lower than FHA loans types amounts. Why? Because they're being backed by the government. Even though the FHA is being backed by the government, it's usually lower than the FHA loans. Number one. So FHA loans, for the most part, they're appealing. Number one, for the interest rate, and you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. Most people think you have to be a first-time home buyer to use USDA loans. No, there's the two requirements. The most important two requirements are your income limits between 80 and 90,000 on a per average. Each county is different, and there is a link. There should be an area where you can find that. I don't have the link right with me, but anyhow, that's number one. And number two, it's got to be in an eligible area, and of course, there's got to be funds in there in order to fund the loans. And once again, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to have a USDA loans. In most cases, you're going to use a lender, a loan officer that has experience on the USDA loans. They have to know what they're doing in order to run this process smoothly, and you don't have to wait. So you always want to ask, hey, how many of these USDA loans have you done in the past year? And then that gives you an indication as far as if they're experienced enough to help you through this process, so you don't have to go to a bumpy road for that matter. Anyhow, so that's one thing about USDA loans. We talked about income limits. They're mostly in rural areas, mostly outside of the areas. But I would always look at the maps first. You always want to look at the maps. People think, oh, that one's not going to qualify. They look at the map and it qualifies. So I always want to confirm, number one, if it's eligible, and then the income limits. For each county is different as far as that's concerned. But anyhow, you have to be in the home for primary at the very minimum 1 year. So if you're going to get a USDA loan and you want to do something with that house after a year, that is fine. It's just the requirement is it's your primary home for 1 year as far as that's concerned. As far as the appraisal is concerned, the appraisal, let's just say you don't get the seller's concessions and your appraiser, you're buying a house that's cost 415, it appraises for 420. Well, USDA allows you to use, if it's above the appraised amount, to use that and wrap up your closing cost and your closing cost into the loan. And so therefore you don't have to come out any out of pocket money as far as that's concerned. Some of the things the USDA, when the appraiser goes out there, that they're pretty strict on, since the government's backing it up, they want to make sure that who's ever in there, it's a good investment for the bank and it's safe. It's a health and safety issues there. Number one, they want to know if it's structurally sound on the home. It's got to be structurally sound. Some of the areas for safety purposes that the appraiser is going to look at, broken glass, it's got to be fixed. If it's got paint that's falling down, you need to go ahead and repaint that. Plumbing issues, make sure the plumbing is working. Exposed wiring, broken HVAC, AC that does not work, a rotten wood, and a crawl space. Let's say it's a manufactured home, you need a little door, safe crawl space to go in there. Anyhow, and those are most of the primary areas as far as when the appraiser goes out there, what to look for. As far as the employment is concerned, as long as you're stably sound of income, got to have a 2-year history where you work. You can have gaps, go from one job to another, as long as it has a 30-day or less gap. And if you do have a gap in there, just get a letter of explanation and describing what happened, what took place to get you from this job to the next job. And most times you don't want to see a decline in income when you're moving from one job to the other. So you want to make sure, hey, I'm getting a job, I'm doing the same thing, or I'm making more money. Those are the two areas. You don't want to have a declining income as far as that's concerned. Self-employment, you need 2 years of self-employment. College counts as well. So let's just say you're going to college, you're getting a nursing degree, you graduate, you start working, and you want to apply for USDA loans, you won't have a problem. You don't need that 2-year employment. With the USDA loans, they'll allow you to use college as 2 years of worth of employment because you went to school for that career that you're going into. And as far as the closing cost, if you get seller's concessions, once again, the down payment is 0%. Okay, you have closing costs, but the closing costs, you're gonna have to get the homeowners insurance, taxes. You're gonna have to set aside on the side for the escrow, which is homeowners and taxes, the appraisal, the inspection, the survey. All those are closing costs. Okay, if you're asking for the closing cost, you can get it back two ways. You can ask for seller's concessions, meaning that you're allowed to get 6% of the purchase amount. But most than likely, 6 or 7 thousand should cover it. If you get maybe a seller's concession to 6,000, 7,000, you get a zero down USDA, chances are you're going to bring nothing to the table, or close to almost nothing, which is pretty rare in these times. Anyhow, so that covers that as far as that's concerned. There is a 1% funding fee for all USDA loans, and that's part of the loan, so you don't have to bring that out of your pocket. Just keep that in mind. That 1%, once again, it assures that these loans are covered. If they're not paid, they're covered by the government, which ensures the bankers that they're going to get their money. Hence, that's what makes it more appealing to a banker to lend out these loans without having to hesitate, as long as they qualify for the requirements as far as that. Who to use for a USDA loan? Okay, you're not gonna go to the USDA department and ask for a loan. You in worst case situation, there's another part I'm going to go into that you could do that for extremely low income. But once again, this one is just for using a lender, a lender that has experience using a USDA loan. Okay, that's done. So when you're looking for a lender, broker, you want to make sure that they've done these USDA loans and they know the requirements as far as that's concerned. But anyhow, I do have a couple of lenders I'd use for USDA loans. I was asked by one of my listing agents to do this video so we can promote a USDA loan in his area that we're listing right now, just to get more feedback from the market. But anyhow, guys, if you have any questions, call me. This is Raul Gonzalez, your Central Texas home realtor. My number is 512-789-0280, 512-789-0280. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks, guys. Take care.